Hello and welcome to Coastal Living Down Under Australia. This is a short video that has been requested by a few people on different Facebook groups in relation to candle care and what to do and what not to do. So I've got a few little examples here of some candles that have some typical issues that you need to watch out for. If you have a candle in your house, then what you need to do and be on the lookout for is some of these things that I'm going to show you now. Like for instance, this candle here, it has what's called a mushrooming effect on the wick. And what that will do is it will make the candle burn big and it will make it smoke and potentially leave soot around the outside of the container. Now I've got an example here to show you as well. So you can see here where we've got black soot around the edge of the container. That's what will happen if you don't trim your wick. Now, in order to trim the wicks, it's very simple. You can, once it's out and it's not hot, you can trim it with your fingers, which is what I do. And all I do is I just pinch and take off the top part. Now, this is how short you should have your wicks. And then we'll do the same for the blue. We just pinch. Now, you can use scissors or you can buy a specific wick trimmer if you wish to. So that's very simple if it's a material cotton wick. If you are using the wood wicks, move those out of the way, such as this one here, it's the same principle. Wait till it's cooled down so it's not hot to touch, and you just take away the pieces around the outside that are burnt off already. And if you get a little bit, just tip it out so that it doesn't end up in your candle wax. Okay? So that's what I wanted to show you here. Now, if you're getting a flame, such as this one, and I'm just going to show you, if it's burning big like this, that's about over an inch, you can see that there's black soot coming off it. It starts to flicker, and then black soot will start emanating out of the top. That black soot is what gives this black mark around the outside. If you're finding that your candles are doing that, the first thing I would do is, again, trim your wick. So pinch off the wick and you'll be left with a short wick. That should stop it. Once you've already got this soot, what you need to do is you need to clean the soot off. So we just get a tissue or a paper towel and you just wipe it away, okay? As soon as you see that black soot, that should tell you that you need to shorten the wick. Okay, and you just wipe it away like such. Now the next tip I would show you, once you've been burning a candle, now this is a store-bought candle, once you've been burning the candle and you will have all of this top part would be melted, when you blow it out, you need to make sure to recenter your candle wick. Now I've left this one, I didn't recenter it last night, I left it as an example to you. You can see how the wicks have crossed over. They've started to lay flat. And that's 1A because I didn't trim the wick, and B because I didn't recenter it when the candle wax was melted. So that's what will happen. So now when I burn it, it's not going to give an even burn. It'll burn hot in the middle, but it won't be burning around the sides. Okay? All right. Now this one here is a good example of how short your wick should be. So if you can see this one here, it's very short. You keep the wicks very short. Now this one here, if you've got a pair of scissors, you can trim it while it's going if you don't want to blow it out. I would just suggest that you make sure that they're metal and you just snip it. Okay, sometimes it will keep burning, other times it won't, and then relight it. It's always easier to trim the wicks when they're burning because they're soft and they're more pliable. All right, now one thing you may not know is when you get a new candle, you should burn, the first burn should be for a full 2 hours for the first use. The reason we do that is, as you can see on this candle, it's got certain rings. You can see how many times I've burnt it and you can see the rings around there. This one wasn't burnt for 2 hours on its first use, and that's why the rings have gone around and you can see them. This one, on the other hand, this one was burnt for a full 2 hours for its first use, and you can see how it's burnt evenly all the way down and you haven't got much wax residue on the outside, and you've got no rings. Okay, so that's a great tip, and that's what you should be doing. The next tip is don't place your candles in a drafty area. If you've got your candles in an area where the wind is blowing, this is how house fires can start, because the flame can get blown onto something that's flammable. Now, that's not to say that you need to shut all the windows and doors. You need to have some ventilation as well, but just make sure that it's not in an area where the wind is blowing the candle wick. So if you've got a container that has a lid, when you're not using it, you put the lid on. So that stops any dust and things like that accumulating here on the wax. You don't want bits of soot and dust and whatever else is blowing in the house sitting here, because that could also catch fire if there's enough of it sitting there. Clean the glass around. If you've got the soot, as we've already mentioned, clean that, make sure it's clean and there's nothing that it can catch fire. And if you are buying these store-bought candles, don't throw the glasses out. If you've got a local supplier that can fill them up, I would suggest that you do that. That's a wonderful idea to save a bit of money, and also helps the environment. Okay, so if you've got any other questions about candles, tips and tricks, you can see here, I've trimmed it and now it's burning perfectly. There's no soot other than my voice and my breath making it flicker. There's no soot coming out of the top. It's the perfect height for the burn. That's what you should be looking out for. I'll do the same here with the wooden wick. Okay, and this is a crackle wooden wick. So it's crackling, but it's not smoking. Okay, and that's the same for this one here. You need to keep them short, trimmed, and remove any soot when you see it. Now the last thing I will say, once your candle gets down to the bottom of the candle, once it burns down to that, then I would stop using it. You don't allow it to get all the way so that it's completely liquid. Otherwise this jar will heat up and potentially explode or break. It's a really, really dangerous thing to do. So once you get down to about where I'm at now, that's when you should stop using it and get a new candle. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I hope these tips and tricks have helped you. I hope they keep you safe. Make sure that you're not putting candles anywhere near anything flammable, at least a foot or 30 centimeters away from anything flammable. Have a great day. Thanks very much. Bye.